Back at my grandpa's shop. By the way, don't want you guys to think I came from this. This is a new form of life over here. So I'm lucky I came back to cool stuff. Welcome back, you guys. Today's video is one where we're all just gonna be learning. It's gonna be cool. We're gonna learn together. This is a journey for us, you know, together. This is a Pontiac Trans Am. And this thing's got a blown head gasket. So we gotta pull a cylinder head on this. And that's gonna suck. Also, what's gonna suck, I don't know if you can tell by how bad the camera's shaking, but I forgot my microphone and I forgot my stand. I don't have neither of them. So we just, what's it called? Free balling? Free balling. Nuts flying in the wind right now. Of course, another older project, but this one is very, very production for the time period. So that's cool and sucks because this is the, what, mid-70s when you started playing. You had a more complicated carburetor. You had a more complicated distributor. Like, why so many vacuum lines? You ever want to see a pain of vacuum lines? Go look at older Mercedes. That crap makes you like, bro, I'm never touching that. But if somebody needs their Mercedes worked on, hit me up, son. But this is what we got to do today. Well, it's probably going to be a couple days. So I'm going to just put in all night the neat points that needs to be made and anything that, you know, is comical for you. But I think I'm going to pull this carb off, pull these valve covers, spark plug wires. You got to take alternator off. Water pump's got to come off. Can I get this the fan off? Not easy, so we'll just leave it. It'll be all right, yeah. Or maybe not. Is there a single bolt? There's 4 bolts. Okay, yeah, we'll take fan off. All dude, gotta go bye-bye. Gotta drain oil, gotta drain coolant. So, similar to what we did last time on the Pontiac, on the AMC, we're going all the way down to where intake manifold comes off. Look at and inspect cylinder head to know what all needs to come off. But the shitty part about this car is that in order to take your intake manifold off, you seeing this too? That sucks, man. That sucks. I don't want to take a water pump off. But whatever. Hey, we'll get it done. Ain't no need in crying about it. But this is supposed to be a billable, what was it, like 16 hours or something? I'm not going to get it done that fast because I've never done this before. But afterwards, when I do the next one, it should be no problem. But look at the head design on these cars. You see how it's like at such a steep angle, right? Right. The header bolts to the bottom of this, right? Right. Okay. Well, what size is that? Oh, that's tiny. Either way. Possible. How in the world? How am I supposed to do that back pull? And you think this side's bad because you got heater cord on it. Come over here. Holy guacamole. The booster. Like, dude, when I go to pull this head off, the booster's like right there. Right? Well, what if you wanted to move booster? Now you're taking brake lines off. You're taking off the master. You're going to have to rebleed all the brakes. And I'm too stubborn and lazy to do that. So we're going to figure out how to not need to do that. But regardless, power steering's got to come off. Hopefully not need to be drained. But either way, in today's video, I'm rambling a lot. Our objective is to just get this off of here. So let's start doing that. I kind of had like a moment where I was like, you know what, maybe I should think about this for a second. So the issue of why we were thinking needing to do a head gasket is that, it fires up, it runs, it drives, it moves, but it gets hot. Well, I just did some research real quick just so I can have more knowledge of it. Apparently, radiators clog up on these really bad, and because your radiator gets clogged up, thermostat gets clogged up. So a lot of these that keep original radiators end up with a clogged up radiator, and they'll get hot, and people will think it's a blown head gasket. Crazy, right? You guys want to see this radiator? It look fine, but I know it's going to be harder for you to see that, but most or some of those fans are completely blocked off in general from rust and goop. So my current understanding is it might just be a bad radiator. There was another reason for them saying that they think this cylinder head is the one that is blown. So I'm gonna have to call my grandpa and be like, hey, yo, can you explain it one more time? Just to make sure I'm on the right track here. Because what we could end up running into here is if it's not a blown head gasket and we go and tear apart this engine, and with how seized all these bolts are looking, we snap a bolt off in the block. We can't torque them down and snap a bolt off in the block, or I don't know. There's a lot of potential things. Header bolts getting snapped off. You're not getting in there to tap another thread in there. Like, you're potentially ruining your chances of reusing this engine without having to send it to a machine shop. So I'm thinking, let's look through all the other available options here before we just call it a blown head gasket. Because, I mean, I don't know that this thing was compression checked. I don't know none of that. That would show you a blown head gasket. You could have this thing running with water in it. Use a tester from AutoZone. That'll tell you if it has a blown head gasket. Like, there's a lot of different options. But I'm willing to bet we're going to pop this thermostat off, see how gunked up that is. If that's gunked up and this radiator's gunked up, it ain't overheating because of the blown head gasket. Okay, so now we're just going to get all these hoses off here, which I was going to have to do anyways. And we're going to remove also the front housing of the water pump, see what that looks like. So we'll sit the power steering down forward, take the alternator off, and look at the water pump. We'll see if those blades in there, who knows? They might not even be in there no more, man. Look at that. That's just all rust. I don't know about a blown head gasket. I mean, I'll tell you what it probably was. This is probably our overheating issue we had right here. Look at that. Absolute crud. So that guy wasn't exactly working its best. Like, listen to it whenever you're turning it. It's pretty bad. So we're going to replace that. I bet you that the head gasket in this thing is just fine. But it looks like whoever owned last was trying a bunch of different tactics out to try to get this thing to work, but never even opened the coolant system on it. Because if you just took, well, they had to have at some point because there was no thermostat in the intake. I don't know. I can only make assumptions right now, so I'm not going to speak on any knowledge that I am not truthful of saying. So we're going to flush the crap out of this thing, get this thing dialed, and I'm going to try flushing the radiator, see if that's recoverable. And if so, then whenever we get the water pump, we'll put the water pump on here. Then we'll put radiator in, and then boom, and then no smoke, and then it's fine, and it works really good. Yep. So we also pulled out the spark plugs, and just about all of them look the same as this one does. Black ends on them. Your typical, like, hey, I was running rich kind of look to it. Nothing for sure showing. So whenever it's a head gasket, sometimes it depends on how bad it is. It would either wash this clean, or the burn of it will also leave a white to it, kind of looking like the same thing as like an E85 plug. So similar. However, this does not have that at all. Everything I'm finding tells me this thing had more of a tune-up issue than anything. And, my pops was describing that on this side of the bank, it was having white smoke. Well, I could believe that because 2 of these plug wires weren't even on there all the way. So that would just be raw fuel dumping into the combustion chamber, mixing with the air, and just spraying out, and then it would burn somewhere as a vapor by the time it hits in the exhaust pipe, but it would not burn the same as if it was just burnt through the cylinder. And it was arcing here and there, so if it had a miss, you wouldn't have heard it and or saw it, except for every once in a while, which is kind of what he described and said that it sounded like it was missing. I was like, well, that would do that. So I don't know. I'm gonna get some more details whenever he gets here. But as of right now, I'm not seeing any sign that says bad head gasket. I'm hoping, but I have a feeling he's not gonna want to do that. I want to change the head gasket anyway. So we're gonna still work and progress towards that plan. So I'm gonna get the intake manifold off. I'm basically wanting to get everything ready. If I can't get the headers off, that's also gonna be another new issue. Because if you see right here, where I got the wrench at, you can only get a wrench there. You can't get a socket. So that one's actually in a worse spot than I thought it was. So we have to depend on that these are tight enough that you can get loose with a wrench. So I hope we get lucky. All right, I didn't really care to show you guys the whole process of taking the intake manifold off because I literally just did a video on that. So if you want to see that kind of content, just go back one. But in this one, we're diagnosing coolant. So when I pulled it out, all up in here, still caked. But however, you look at the ports, intake ports and runners are clear. Well, boys, we got the head gasket out. Let's take a look at this thing. I don't know how many of you guys have actually looked at a head gasket to know if it's blown or not. I've done it twice. So the information I'm about to tell you could be completely wrong. But it's mostly right, so it'll be all right. It'll be okay together. This is kind of how it was sitting. Dirty grease and all that, the grime. But this is not what's pressed on the head right here. So that's nothing bad. So that's not a signal you want to look at. And that wasn't there yesterday. But this would be, obviously, it couldn't have been there because, you only needed to get it up. Only so much to get the other head gasket in. Get it up, that's what she said. So today, when I tell you guys, my grandpa is a crafty fella. Look at this unit, son. That thing is industrial, brother. I'd put this thing in the middle of a tornado. I bet you she wouldn't even fall apart, son. I wouldn't even think about it. I like this, man. I never even came over here to look at this. You know how long he's had it? It's dirty. I just learned from looking at this one that this is actually a cover. So I'm going to try to get this off real quick and see if it's even salvageable. Which might also put a pretty rough right there. And there's the cover. That was all on the inside. So this is as good as it's going to get. Without having an actual wire brush wheel, but the other shop is locked right now. We're back for another video already. I don't like that part. And then it's got a relay and then some wires to run out of it. These are actually off of my S10 from years ago. We're sitting here hanging out in the Trans Am, just torqued down the heads. Holy mackerel, brother. What a torque spec. First pass, you gotta do, it was 50 first pass, 75 for your second. 95 is the end torque spec on a factory stud, dude. Why do I feel like that's kind of gnarly? RP volts for this engine supposed to be 110. I was like, brother, okay, is what it is. So we are torqued down now. No crazy tips or tricks on that part. All right, so we got steering column loose, picked up, so that way we got room to move the head up. This side actually seems so far to have more room. I don't want to go ahead and say something that then is going to end up changing to, oh my God, this side is 10 times harder. But we are ready to go ahead and lift the head up and then take these lifters out. Some of them last time was just able to go ahead and come out, but not right now. So I'm gonna move the wires hopefully to the outside of the head. Hopefully, I don't know. Can they move a good amount? All right, we got this one out. Similar look to it, but we know for sure this side wasn't smoking the same. And you can see better on this one how this doesn't have the same marks going into here. Burn marks that mean leaving the combustion chamber. Right there though, kind of looks like the same. So overall, I don't exactly know. Don't exactly know for sure, but heads off, gaskets out. So, you know, we figured, you know, since we're doing one side and we're this far tore down, we might as well do the other side. So that one's in for the bad bin, and the new one's going in. All right, now we're gonna fire it up and see. The coolant already filled up. All right, we're nice and full. All right, we're in park. Key on. Oh no, not enough. It needs gas. We took the whole bowl. We ran it too long. What was enough to get it moving? And there's no smoke, so I think we do it good. Our gasket is fixed, so we do know that. All right, now for the outro. Refill, redrive, reflush, the whole nine. Then turn the car on and let it flush itself out of the block too. Oh, never mind. Yeah, there is chunks and stuff floating in that. That is chocolate milk, pure chocolate. At some point, hold on. Let me pour some fuel down the carb. All right, that should be enough to get whatever was left in that block out. Belt squeals on the thing, but all right, now it's running pretty good. Trying to make sure there's no more air in it, but that gasket is for sure fixed. All that little ticking noise that we heard last night might actually have been the transmission, because fire is up, it runs. But we are not done in terms of finishing this car as a running and driving vehicle. It does need some type of service to the transmission, and or see if we can find another one that works. And then if you want to see more old cars getting worked on or keep up with the story on this one, if you guys want to buy you a Pontiac that's got a clean, good body on it, this is your jam.
Oh my. Oh no.
All that yada yada bull crap, which I feel like you guys probably won't want to see. But